Alright, so it's been about 2 years since I've made a video like this, but last year Marvel didn't have anything come out for Comic-Con, so I thought since we're having something this year, why not talk about it? So I'm just going to get this one out of the way. I think we're definitely going to get something for Spider-Man 4. I think that actually it might even come out next year because once again, Sony really wants another Spider-Man 4 movie to come out. And I would say as of right now, because I don't believe Blade's coming out, there is a slot for November 7th, 2025. And this is also just me being very biased, but why not just put Spider-Man 4 there? The only reason why I don't think this is going to happen is simply because Avatar 3 comes out the month after. And that's definitely going to take a lot of the box office away from Spider-Man. But I really do think that we're going to get Spider-Man 4 in Phase 6. The question is it going to come out in late 2025 or is it going to come out in 2026, like early 2026? I really don't know at this point. But for tomorrow, I'm definitely expecting them to announce the movie title and probably the writers as well. And maybe the directors also. Okay, so I actually take back the last statement of them announcing the title because apparently that's something that they build towards, especially when that first trailer comes out. So I don't think that's going to happen, but everything else I really do think is going to happen. Next up is Thor 5. I think they're simply going to announce the title of the movie and that Chris Hemsworth is coming back. Because as of right now, we really don't know much about Thor 5. We do know that they're actually looking for a writer and a director, so we're not going to get any massive announcements about that. And we do know that Chris Hemsworth wants this next movie to be a very dark and serious movie. That will have some humor, obviously, because it's Thor, but obviously not as much as the last two. But who knows, they could announce a major director directing this movie, and maybe they're working on finding writers, but who knows. But I don't expect a lot from Thor 5. And if it doesn't have a lot of multiverse elements in the next movie, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if they don't announce it for Phase 6. So because of that, I would give Thor 5 probably like a 50% chance of coming out in Phase 6. Next up, I think Shang-Chi 2 is definitely coming out in Phase 6. I've heard that Shang-Chi 2 is probably going to have like a multiverse time travel element, which obviously makes sense for Secret Wars and Avengers 5. Also, the director of Shang-Chi 2 actually was supposed to direct the Avengers 5 and Secret Wars, but left the project so that he can focus more on Shang-Chi 2, which gets me very excited. And also, one thing I'm just going to say for a lot of these new Marvel movies, they don't have any continuity to them. Because ever since Shang-Chi came out, we haven't seen him in any kind of TV show or movie. And in fact, we haven't even had like a mention of Shang-Chi, like just mentioning his name on like a news report or like TV show or just someone mentioning his character name, literally nothing. But I think Marvel's going to work more on trying to build continuity within the next 3 years. And in terms of a release date for Shang-Chi 2, I think it's probably going to come out in 2026, but definitely not next year because once again, next year is pretty stacked for movies. So yeah, I'm expecting them to announce Shang-Chi 2, and I think everyone's going to be very happy about that. Next up, I think we're going to get some plot details on Daredevil Born Again. Obviously, the movie went through a lot of reshoots. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that Kevin Feige fired the entirety of the writers for Daredevil Born Again. And I highly doubt we're going to get a trailer for this, but I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe like a teaser trailer because we are 7 months away from this coming out. 7.5 months, you know what I mean. So it would be a perfect time to drop a teaser. But honestly, I really don't think Marvel's going to drop a lot of teaser trailers or just big trailers in general just because we just got a massive trailer in Captain America Brave New World. But it definitely wouldn't surprise me at all. Next up, I definitely think that we're going to get a lot of plot details on Thunderbolts as well. And I know it's been heavily rumored that we're going to get a trailer for this as well. But once again, Captain America Brave New World just got a trailer, so I highly doubt that we're going to get another trailer. But it would be very cool if they did that, and I'm not complaining. Next up, like I said earlier, I think Blade's getting delayed. We've had way too many directors leave. We've had too many writers leave. And for some reason, even though it should be very simple, they just seemingly can't get a Blade movie right. And honestly, this may be like a hot take, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't even get a Blade movie for Phase 5 or 6. Simply because Blade, once again, doesn't really connect to the multiverse saga. Although it would be cool to see him in like Secret Wars. I also think that Marvel is probably going to go for more of like continuity with their stories for the next couple of movies for the next couple of years, of course. And I think Blade wouldn't really fit into that. And I really do think that Marvel's going to double down on the multiverse saga. So because of that, that's why I don't think Blade's really going to get it. Next up, another project that I don't think Marvel's going to really announce. And if they do, it's probably going to be in like, Phase 7 once again. And that's Armor Wars. This was originally supposed to be like a Disney Plus show, but then it became a movie. And this is simply another movie that just doesn't make sense within the multiverse saga. But it could be one of the starter points for the next phase. And Armor Wars does sound interesting, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they revert it back to a Disney Plus show just so it could come out. But I really don't have a lot of confidence in that. Next up, I think Young Avengers is definitely coming out in Phase 7. Obviously, if you've seen the Marvels, to the very few people who did, you would know that Kamala Khan got recruited to the Young Avengers by Kate Bishop, of course. And honestly, this is the kind of movie that I don't even see being in theaters, and I think it's probably something that would be on Disney+. But if it is going to come out in theaters, it's definitely not anytime soon. And just off of the alleged list of people who could be in a Young Avengers movie, I don't think it's enough of interesting characters that people would want to go see it in a movie theater. Next up, speaking of like people who could be in a Young Avengers movie, obviously Wanda's kids could potentially be in that, and we're actually going to talk about Scarlet Witch, who I think this one is definitely something that honestly could come out in Phase 6, because the Scarlet Witch movie could definitely be a multiverse movie. But at the same time, it also could just be its own thing and could, rely more on like the supernatural dark elements, which could connect to like Blade or something like that. If Marvel continues to go down like the darker path with like Blade, Midnight Suns, maybe a Moon Knight season 2. But honestly, Scarlet Witch getting a movie for Phase 6 is like a 70-80% chance of a no for me personally. But for a Phase 8 movie, or Phase 7 movie, an 80% yes. Next up, the directors, and I'm only talking about the Russo brothers here, because I would not be surprised if tomorrow they announced them to direct Avengers 5 and Secret Wars, because I believe The Hollywood Reporter and Deadline reported that pretty much they're going to be the ones directing it, most likely, and in fact they're already like working on it. And I don't know who's going to be writing this, I have no theory for that, but yeah, they're definitely going to announce that the Russo brothers are coming back to direct the next couple of Avengers movies. Also, I expect them to announce the title for Avengers 5. And I highly doubt this is going to happen, especially with the, latest rumors, but I really do think that they should delay Secret Wars, because it's just a massive story, and I don't think Marvel has enough time to really get a good to great movie down. But off of the rumors and reports, it seems like Marvel is really committed to making this movie happen. Next up, I think RDJ is definitely coming back, but I really don't know if they're going to announce that at Comic-Con. That might be too big of an announcement for Comic-Con, but obviously Marvel likes to shock their audiences. And I know some people have been saying Chris Evans, but I don't see that happening. Also, spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine, but he did just come back for that as well. So for me personally, although it definitely could happen, I just don't see him coming back again. And the last theory that I have before Comic-Con is obviously, I don't think Black Panther 3 is coming out in Phase 6 either. The Black Panther movies have been pretty self-contained. Obviously, they were in Infinity War and Avengers Endgame towards the end, but once again, the Black Panther movies have been pretty self-contained. They're not really connected to any other Marvel movies, and they're more of their own stories. So we could get an announcement that Shuri's going to be in the next Avengers movie, which I think is pretty likely at this point. But in terms of the next Shuri Black Panther movie, that's probably not coming out until after Avengers Secret Wars. So yeah, we're pretty much under 24 hours, a lot under 24 hours before Comic-Con comes out. So these are pretty much my theories. If you care, let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen. My expectations are going to be a little bit low simply because whatever they announce, I feel like we're already going to know on some level. But hopefully we get some really great announcements tomorrow, and see ya.